is a UK tournament winner. He beat Ball Control in the final. Now started coming to tournaments as well, and a name to look out for, especially if these guys are 4-1. But this is going to be his first time on a big stage. He played on stream in that final, but that was mainly done from internet and such like. But this is going to be big. But Tyler, I think in recent times, we saw Tyler get to 4-1 type scores and fail a lot early in the year, maybe late last year. Now he's converted one. Now he's a guy who's going to championships. And I think we've seen a big attitude shift in just how comfortable he is on that stage.
Yeah, and he's traveling to a lot of tournaments. And then also, he's a ladder beast.
He is an absolute beast.
Every time we see him, he's turning on stream, every time he tweets out something, it's something from High Legend. And it's really funny to see that he's laddering and he's traveling all the time. And we've been seeing it here at the event as well. Just sitting in the lobby while eating and laddering along with the other players, and everyone's trying to do the top finish because this is the last day of the month. It
has been insane around here. I think people playing aggro are quite happy. I mean, like Insane's now gone to ladder for an hour because it is the last day of the month, and these guys are trying so hard to juggle these HCT points around. Obviously, you can't just reschedule all of GigaCon for one ladder finish in one of the events because there's so much going on here.
Yeah. And we see Tyler now, though. He's using the token druid that he has been using a lot lately. And do you know a lot about this matchup?
It's really, really bad for token druid. I know that much.
You see Tyler, he's up 1-0, and this is the reason SirSalty is one of the reasons you bring even luck, because it beats down like Sue, it beats down the token druid. And he has a really good start as well. He got like tons of two drops, and he got the Drake. He got like everything he needs to shut down Tyler.
Yeah, Mossy Horror picked up there in case Defile wasn't going to be enough.
Yeah,
just as even more backup. Yeah, he's got everything. This is why this will be his counter queue. It is last hero standing. You pick the deck that you think's going to beat that one. Usually. There's some maths comes in occasionally, but in this instance, it's very clear cut. You're here to beat this deck with the deck you have chosen.
And that's the thing as well. A lot of the matchup that you that should be favored and stuff like this, it's only like 55, maybe 58% favored, and that's almost the 50. That's not a lot. Things happen. Card sequences and micro decisions decide the outcome, and basically it doesn't mean that even if you're favored, you're going to win. It's like that. It's not a solid thing.
Glad you bring that up, because it happens a lot that people say like that, and then the same people do it winning Hearthstone tournaments. They don't win it by winning things that are 51-49. They win it by turning those 51s into 65s. It's got to be insane. But this one, on the other hand, is a bit more than 55, I feel.
Yeah, this one is a pretty heavy favorite for SirSalty here. And he's just going through the motions. And as you've been mentioning a lot, it's not necessarily about how I'm winning this, it's how could I lose from this position. And that's why he's taking his time, because he needs to, well, if I overextend here, is Plague, for instance, going to punish me?
That is one way you lose in this situation, and giving Tyler the chance to Plague here is a decision he's made. There is no Plague, but Plague and some removal would have been a little bit awkward there for SirSalty in terms of, oh my goodness, I'm in trouble. But it would have just got Mossy Horrored. So you maybe want to go wide before your opponent can play Plague and Branching Path in the same turn and survive that Mossy Horror.
We're seeing here now that Tyler is trying to basically stem off the aggression from SirSalty, even though Tyler is actually the aggressor in this matchup.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty for him. Another thing that he started to do here, which normal druids can get away with, but token not so much, is burn through his cards. And your wisps get smaller and everything. You need more cards. You need to protect your buff. So the second you start removing stuff in token druid, you do start to lose a lot of your deck value. Like your Nourish, for instance, is quite often used for cards in a lot of matchups with this deck, rather than just ramp. You need cards, and he's running out.
You need a lot of cards, and especially now he doesn't have any card draw, which is always feels sad, because he's waiting for the UI. If he had a UI, he would feel much safer going into the future turns. But seeing like right now every resource he has is precious.
So he is going to get play the Plague, but it's not like he's walked into a trap or something. He knows what's happening here. You can see why SirSalty's not scared to go wide, because he knows the deck lists, but not much he can do here.
Yeah, it's basically what he has to do. It's like, well,
it's only going to be one minion left, actually, yeah. It's not actually that bad for him. But again, the thing that is bad for him is that hand size. There's now a handful of just nothing. Floop is a flop in this situation.
Yeah. Floop does very little when you haven't played a minion all game.
So this is where SirSalty, he can see Mossy Horror looks good, but he's spending a little bit of time just to make sure...
Is it good enough?
Yeah, wait, and can I get away without it? Yeah, can I save it for even later? But perfect timing for it there. Did he go for a little emote there? Yeah.
Yeah, he did it in the wrong order. Always tap first if you're going to tap. So it's ordering like...
Yeah.
Maybe he got a better play, for instance. He didn't, but... and also he could tap himself lower and then get armor on top of it, but it doesn't that matter much since he didn't... He can't afford Hooked Reaver anyways. He's still very healthy.
One thing I like about talking to SirSalty, I always gone about how new players, nerves, all that gubbins that you get bored of hearing me say. SirSalty doesn't strike me as the sort of person who gets very nervous.
No.
He was just hanging around like he's always been. No one knew who he was until he won the UK Championship. Sorry, SirSalty, but we didn't.
Yeah, you can see it on the screen as well. He's basically stone-faced.
Yeah, he hasn't blinked in the whole game.
It's amazing.
But he was just mixing as if he belonged here right from minute one of walking into the building.
Well, that's very unusual for a lot of players because playing on ladder or playing in online tournaments is a completely different environment from playing on stage.
And you see some of these players walk in for the first time. I don't know if it's his first LAN, but it's one of his very first. They walk in and go, oh, that's just saying, that's Muzzy. You know, these famous people have only ever played on ladder. And they sort of take a step back, and it does hit you when you do that. But he just walked in, just started talking to everyone, knew who everyone was. Yeah, we knew who he was within 5 minutes.
No,
he's somebody who's got potential to be, you know, a name we keep talking about. We shall see how he follows through. But
yeah, well, winning the UK Championship, yeah, it was a big. There's a lot of good players in the UK. Yeah. You have you and Derek. Just kidding.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good players.
Yeah. But yeah, beating Board Control, which is an established player, that's a tournament player, and stuff like this, it really shows that this guy is. He's not just the talk. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he has got that little bit extra of that little bit of self-confidence that some players do lack at first. They soon gain it, but he's gained himself a couple of lands of experience just by being how he is in the first place. It's good to see.
When you see here now, though, just amassing the biggest board he can and just punching face. It's not rocket science what he does now. He just what happens if he's spreading plagues now? That's probably what's in his mind.
Imagine if it was rocket science. They only have 75 seconds. There would be some spectacular failures.
That would be cool, though.
Just build a rocket in 75 seconds. Go!
Yeah, we
throws out the well played.
And then he goes to 1-1. Now Tyler has to beat up this even lock. And there's a lot of ways to beat up an even lock.
Yeah, we haven't got his lineup in front of us, but I'm sure we'll see in a moment what it is. I should know, and I don't, what Tyler has brought.
I think he brought Odrog. I'm not sure. Either Quest or Odrog.
We'll get to see in just a moment.
We're going to see in just a moment.
How do you feel if you're the established player and this guy, this kid, this new person who doesn't belong just BMs you at the end of game 2? Oh, well played. You've got 2 ways to respond, right?
Yeah, basically this game was basically SirSalty doing whatever he wants while just Tyler being on the receiving end. Yeah, we see how Tyler queuing in with his Quest Rogue, which should be a good matchup for Tyler, or else he wouldn't queue it in.
Yeah, this is a decent matchup.
And how much of the Quest Rogue have you played?
Myself?
Yeah.
I've cast a lot of it, but playing it, not so much.
We can't cast it much here because it's always banned, but now it's not.
Yeah, in HGG it wasn't banned for the longest time, and then Fino started showing, because Fino's the one who, obviously Fino didn't invent Quest Rogue, and he may not even be the best Quest Rogue player, but he's very good and he's done very well with it. So because of Fino, Quest Rogue has gained a lot of popularity, I feel.
Yeah. Well, it is, like, it's 2 nerfs in and still good. It says something about the Quest.
Yeah, I think it says something about Giggling Inventor, to be fair.
Yeah, because Giggling Inventor was basically what revitalized the whole Quest Rogue.
You don't die, so you can complete the quest, and when you do, you get 12 of stats for 5 mana. That seems fairly reasonable.
But SirSalty has some of the cards he needs to beat this Quest Rogue. An early Giant is crucial, because Quest Rogue, the first few turns, you do nothing on the board. And that's perfect because the Warlock just want to tap the first few turns. But then, turn 3, it comes down a big Giant and punches you in the face, and you have to react as a rogue. Tyler, on the other hand, has the Glacial Shard, which can just buy him turn after turn after turn.
Yeah, one feature of of Quest Rogue these days is it always looks like its hand is terrible and then they pick up Sonya and win the game.
Yeah.
It's like really strange how hands just develop and you buy that time, just like you were saying with these Glacial Shards.
Yeah, talk to some of the pro players about like how you handle Quest Rogue, and one of them, a lot of them saying is like, versus, for instance, Malagos Druid, one of the things you just do is just never play minions so they don't get Sonya value. Just wait till you can punch them in the face with Malagos and all the spells in the deck.
Yeah.
And that's the way to win.
People are finding the strangest ways to win all matchups these days.
Yeah.
And not playing things is quite often one of them. Not drawing cards is another in some matchups. It's like not doing things is the new doing things in Hearthstone.
But yeah, SirSalty has a very menacing board here, but with the double Glacial Shards, it can really stem down some of the damage coming in here.
It can, but with that
he doesn't have
looking
any
like his quest
bouncers.
completion and Defiles hanging around, Tyler's got to be very careful here. And
I would like to see him use at least one Glacial Shard here.
I think you use one. I think you stop the Giant. But you have got 30 health. That is a very important resource as Quest Rogue. So the best players use that resource incredibly well, go down to incredibly low health totals.
Demonic. Oh, SirSalty is running Demonic Project, so it's a very. He's probably running also Sacrificial Pacts then, because it's basically a counter to all the combo decks like Malagos Druids and stuff like that.
It's also one way of playing the mirror, but yeah, basically like you say, is someone like Shudderwock just doesn't like this at all.
It's like, oh, you played all the Shudderwock activators. What if something happened to you, Shudderwock?
Would be a shame if something happened to that nice Shudderwock you've got there.
But yeah, Tyler is looking in a rough spot, but I like a few good cards there, like a Vanish, for instance, will just clear up this board pretty nicely.
Yeah,
He's
this
sitting
hand
there.
is very bad though.
Yeah, he needs some bouncers for this shard as well. That's a Shadow Step, so that's a start.
A good card. And there aren't that many bouncers in the deck these days. It plays very differently to the original iterations. That's why
because
the deck sort of dies and then people have to reinvent it each time.
Yeah, it used to play Pandas and the Ferryman and like everything, but Sonya usually just does the trick.
Yeah, it's
a crazy.
But you've got to be a bit careful to not have a one-card deck, and of course it's nothing like a one-card deck, but like you say, as soon as you find Sonya, game seems to end really fast a lot of the time.
But right here now, he's staring down 14 damage. That's a 2-turn clock, and he needs to do something about it. And this, I have a feeling that this Giant will never get to attack, ever. Because that's the goal for Tyler now, just never letting the Giant attack.
Just getting a cheeky point of face damage in while he can. And even that's a decision you have to make.
Yeah.
You don't want a 7/7 to come very early when you're going to kill if you do complete quest.
That Spellbreaker, though, is very juicy for SirSalty. And the Demonic Project as well.
Can he hit the Glacial Shard?
Hits the board, though, which is also quite a good because it reduces the burst from Tyler for later, or clearing potential.
Has given Tyler a Homunculus, which is a two-edged sword. He's going to take some damage, but also obviously have a taunt minion to get in the way.
But Tyler is like, if he gets a Vanish now off the top, it would be super great to just reset the board, but unfortunately it doesn't. And he's staring down a menacing board. Even if he uses his Glacial Shard now, he doesn't have any bounce. That means he has to start the quest all over again, because this is his second Glacial Shard as well.
And if SirSalty BM'd last game a little bit when he was a massive favourite anyway, what's he going to do if he wins this one? That could actually rattle Tyler if this goes the wrong way.
But this is a hard turn, though, because none of these plays is like playing Glacial Shards to survive. Yeah, of course, that's the thing. But playing it for survive means you can never finish your quest on Glacial Shard. You have to start on the new minion. And do you have time for that? And even if you just Glacial Shard the Giant, you still is taking like 10 damage and you're at 12, so the Hellfire kills you.
Also has to work out whether he needs to gain the 1 health from the Scalebane, which is obviously his comeback mechanism if he does complete the quest to gain 4 from that. But sometimes if you're going to die, you need to do the 1.
Yeah. So you can't clear off like the Spellbreaker here, for instance, with the 2 chargers, but it hurts so much just emptying your hand. He's sitting with like a Valera and a Preparation without any spells. This is horrible.
Yeah, and I think we're going to say the word Vanish every turn until he's dead. Because that is the thing he needs now.
And there's the Hellfire. Doesn't help now because of the taunt. You can still push 4 damage face with the Hellfire with 7, put him down to 4.
Feel like he's going to
just put up more minions. Tap, put up more minions.
He can do anything here, but
yeah, he like there's so many turns here where Vanish would be good. He knows it's just off the top deck.
Again, just looking for cracks in SirSalty, and it's a little bit difficult without the cams, but things like he's taking his time even in this sort of very strong-looking position. Again, whilst having a first big stage game, that's another sign of a comfortable player. Have you seen the stage? It's terrifying.
Yeah, it is terrifying.
It's massive, and it's like
everyone looking
high,
at
and
you.
it's in the middle of nowhere.
These 2 half-good players are trying to criticize all your plays. It's and all the Twitch chat.
Oh, that's the fun bit, right? Yeah.
It's like he's one. Yeah, it was nothing to do. He's one off from Valera. He has no Vanish, and he didn't pick up enough bouncers. It's basically how the game goes sometimes. Just quest rogue, not doing quest rogue things.
That never happens when I play against it.
No, well.
But yep, 2-1 to SirSalty. This is 4-1 they are in the Swiss, and of course we're cutting to top 8. 7-1 is the safety margin.
Yeah.
There will be 1 or 2 6-2s, but with players already on 6-0, they're going to have much better tie breaks than these guys. So, going to be a mirror match now for Tyler. And this is where last hero standing is often won and lost. And of course, if you're 2-1 down, this time it definitely will be won or lost this way around.
Both players tossing both their hands. And Tyler picking up a giant. So he's starting better. SirSalty is picking up a little bit higher end with Gul'dan on the Lich King.
So quite often I'm going to try and find the tech cards in. It's all about the tech cards, and we know already that there's the sack pack for SirSalty. And the reason it's so important to have those tech cards is the little dance we do with the hooked reavers.
Yeah.
Who can land one of those without it being blown up, and who can get rid of the tech cards first. And there's usually a way to deal with it. You usually play Black Knight or Sack Pact, so you can deal with it. And so you'll often see the hooked reavers just not being played, even though it looks obvious. It looks like you should just wedge it onto the board and hit them with it.
You're just wasting 4 mana, basically. And that's the thing with these matchups as well, because you build your deck to attack a field which you think is complete, and like the even lock is pretty much what, 26 core cards, and then you have 4 flex spots. And
Tyler's about as unteched as you can be. There's only 1 Spellbreaker, which isn't a key card, but it helps. And he has none of the normal stuff. He has
a Bone Mare. And
no Sack Pact. He has no...
Just a good old even lock with no new cards.
Yeah, so it's not at all built for the mirror. And so SirSalty will have a slight advantage here. But
Tyler dropping down the giant and getting instantly answered with a giant from the top of the deck of SirSalty must feel awful.
Yeah, it can be soul destroying. If you can pick up another giant of his own, you can just race, like, because they have to trade into your giant, then you just keep hitting them and things can end in a hurry. But you tend to find that what happens is you both stabilize, having cancelled out each other's massive things, and you end up picking around with your, how do I get my 2/3 in for 2 damage? It goes really weird considering you're throwing all this heavy stuff at each other. SirSalty does have the Gul'dan. That is a big deal if he does survive this early onslaught.
Tyler's now thinking if he should trade or go face. If he goes face, it's also he goes into hooked reaver territory. So he decides to do the trade and just like, well, I have a Drake on board and be safe with that. But SirSalty just answering it like, but this is the perfect answer to the Drake, just silencing it off, and it's perfectly contested.
Going to be interesting to see how Tyler approaches his own hooked reavers, knowing that SirSalty has those sack pacts. Maybe we don't see him wait too long with them. And now it's Gul'dan on either side. And that can sometimes make this game go a long time. Surprisingly long, considering, again, how big the minions are they're hitting each other with.
Yeah, because most of the time they just use it for trading instead of actually just hitting face in this matchup. Like versus a druid, you just hit face with a giant. But here you have to consider, because you want to go low, but you don't want to go low with a giant on the board.
Just a battle for the board, but it's kind of slow, cumbersome battle as those giants have been erased, and the Drake's doing 4 is not a big deal. There's enough healing in the deck to recover from that, but again, it becomes a bit of a grind now that they've cancelled each other out. Getting Gul'dan down is important. Getting things back with Gul'dan is fairly important, but it's not like the good old days if you've been under a rock for 3 or 4 months. Gul'dan in this deck is nice, but it's not like game killing. It's more the hero power that it generates that wins you the game, not the not the minions you get back.
Here we see one of the additions that come back because it fits into even more. Like after the nerf, the Bone Mare, which basically it's a Kings with taunt and a 5/5 bot. It's a solid card, and it was included in every deck before when it was 7 mana. Now at 8 mana, it fits. It's very few. It's like even Shaman and even Warlock, because as we told, when you're playing odds and evens, you have the half the card pool to pick between, and then cards like Bone Mare suddenly becomes more interesting.
Another thing you'll have heard me say a lot, talking of odds and evens, this is even. Turn 7 is always a killer, but Tyler has managed to protect his coin to his turn 7, so he gets to skip it. You only get to use a coin once, as you all know, and usually the best tempo swing you can get from a coin is on turn 1 or 2. But in this deck, turn 7 is actually a great time if you're doing other things along the way to get that massive swing, because you get basically an extra card's worth of use out of the fact you can turn your odd into an even.
Yeah, this is nice. Tyler has some options though. He can Bone Mare and trade, but that doesn't feel that good comparing to the board. But it creates a massive board that needs a response. That's what it does. He can play like something like Gang Greymane and trade in and just have a 6/5 on board.
Yeah, he can consider keeping that coin for a turn 9 to sort of get his first Gul'dan down. Yeah. If he's going to do that, we might see him drop a load of demons this turn. Not particularly worry about the Reavers being amazing, and just make sure, yeah, he's going to go for the coin Gul'dan on 9. So he's getting demons on the board now, and so either get sack packed as 4/4s and you haven't messed around, or you get them back.
Yeah. SirSalty is actually only running the Demonic Project and not the sack pack.
Oh, he's not running the sack pack?
He's just doing the combo disruption.
Does he have Black Knight? You can have a quick look at that as we are scrambling for deck lists as we go. Is he playing his...
No Black Knight, no.
Okay, so they're both in the same spot then.
Yeah, it's basically only the Demonic Project.
It's interesting. You quite often play the sack pack with the project, just because it's that health gain you need.
Yeah.
Okay, so both lists running extremely tight, extremely not tech for the mirror.
Yeah. The thing with SirSalty here though, what he can do is value with the Demonic Project. He can just have some like plated beetle, a minion that doesn't matter much, and just turn it into a demon that gets resummoned by Gul'dan. That's one of the usages of it, and hopefully hit a big demon from Tyler, and so he gets something bad. If
he gets into a spot with all the small stuff left. But what you were saying there about tech cards, by the way, is interesting. I was talking to Penny, pro player from Denmark earlier today, and saying about like how long do you get, what do you do, and basically you're not allowed the deck lists at the table. So the round's announced, you get 15 minutes to look at deck lists, you have to memorize tech cards and stuff. So when we sit here as casters and say, oh, he should know that there's no sack packed, if Tyler's skimmed through the list and is
seeing Demonic Project,
you can register the wrong card. And it's not just that you can, when we say they've got perfect information, they've only got the information they can remember in their head until they sit down, and then Penny says, okay, first thing I do when I sit down is write down all the tech cards I can remember before I get into game 1, because you're allowed to do that, to make sure that she remembers as many cards as possible. But looking at 120 cards and not making a mistake in 15 minutes, especially, it's not like you're sitting in a library doing this.
No, it's a lot of people around you. It's a lot of stress. Maybe you need to go to the toilet.
Well, you've got to think what to ban at the same time. You're not just focused on the exact cards. You're thinking about bans, and again, you can skim through a deck and just miss something. So weird things happen in tournaments for reasons we don't always convey.
Yeah. And while you were talking, we had a really interesting turn from SirSalty here. SirSalty put up a really big board because he has recognized that Tyler has saved the coin for one thing, and that's doing what you said, coining out Gul'dan. But having 2 hooked Reavers and a 5/1 5/1 Bone Mare on board, just basically saying like, well, if you do Gul'dan now, I'm going to punch you for all the damage in the world.
And that's made a huge difference. Now he gets the first Gul'dan.
Yeah, and the first refill, and with the first refill, it really makes it for Tyler. That's like he's playing his Gul'dan is really risky.
Yeah, nicely picked up there. As again, I was having a bit of a waffly moment, like I do. Again, like SirSalty.
All people just going on the dabbling and just talking.
Back in my day.
Yeah, back in the War of Nguro.
Yeah, I was there for the War of the Dinosaurs. I saw that tweet. I'm not oblivious to technology. I sometimes see tweets.
You choose to not go for the Gul'dan, though.
It's again saying, you can't Gul'dan, so I'm going to develop.
Yeah.
Do you want to Gul'dan now? No, thanks.
Yeah, then I get an extra Lich King card.
Yeah.
And you see here now, though,
But this might backfire.
Yeah. Because now it kills the Lich King and basically just contesting with the 5/5 to this 2/3, and now the Gul'dan comes down most likely because the rest of the cards he has is basically a lot of reactive cards and then his weenie minions. And like the Geist doesn't do anything in this matchup because, well, it's even. They don't have 1 mana.
Yes, not how it works. That's why you can afford to play it yourself.
I think also SirSalty, he hasn't played that many demons compared to Tyler.
Yeah, this was the benefit of the turn you talked about, though, where he did play those Reavers. Just get it on with there, so your Gul'dan's better.
Yeah, but look at this board.
But Tyler has been dumping demons for some time.
Look at that board, though.
Yeah.
And there's very few even luck lists now with the Twisting Nether. This is a board that kills you on the backswing. And Tyler now is probably thinking if trading is worth it or just pushing away all the armor. What this sets up. If he trades now, his bone marrow goes down to 1, and you can do some, probably maybe do some defile math and get everything in like you want. You can trade in the 2/3 into the 2/4, and then you have 1/2, and then you can, you can clear the whole board with defile if he trades now.
Wow.
Just did it faster. You know I'm Asian, so do the math fast. But yeah, so this is the consideration. Just if he goes face, if he trades into the plated beetle, it makes the math a little bit harder to actually push through, I think, because you need to get something to 1. Or you can.
Well, he's got to make the decision really quickly, and it's not easy to just make sure you get everything right.
Yeah, he goes face and then makes it up. So SirSalty has to find the correct defile math. Because now he gets 1 mana with 2 mana, and he can get the 3 mana with the hero power into the 6/6, and then the 4 mana in the Hooked Reaver, and then the 5 mana for...
And you just know from how quickly he's done this, he was doing it as you were doing it during Tyler's turn. He knows that Tyler's trying to find one.
Sequence addition, you know.
Oh, sequence addition.
Only for the defile math instead.
Sequence defile math.
But this was what basically SirSalty or Tyler was thinking, is with any way he could avoid the defile.
He saw this straight away, and then the rest of the rope was all about, is there a way I can make this not happen to me?
Yeah, and that shows the strength of the file and the hero power from Gul'dan also with the 3 health. You can really put minions into whatever health range you want.
Yeah, Defile. I like Defile as a card. I think it's changed Hearthstone a little bit in a good way. Forced people to actually do elementary numbers, which is nice.
It's pretty. Yeah, it's a cool card. Like Godfrey's, I feel Godfrey is a lot simpler sometimes.
Yeah, you just play Godfrey and everything dies.
Yeah, most of the times. But it gets complicated with like in Q-Block matchups with Void Lords and all that stuff. Yeah.
You just play it and everything dies.
Most likely.
But Defile, I have seen some incredible turns where players have worked out. It seems, again, it's one of those that seems simple when you see it, but you know, then you challenge somebody else to work it, and they're like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Frostmourne on a massive pickup.
Now SirSalty is sitting on a pretty good board with 2 4-attack minions, representing 8 damage. And Tyler doesn't really have a way to like attack this board without losing some health, with, either using Frostmourne or because the hero power. You can use like Defile and or Hellfire and hero powers. Yeah, he has some options like that, but it's nothing really. You want to save those Defiles and Hellfires for a bigger board, or for burst for that matter. Because now the battle comes down to like a battle of attrition. I'm not sure which of the players has the most cards. That's something we can probably get up.
There won't be much in it, but it's what they have left and such like as well that's going to matter here. I think they both got a giant left. I feel like
both have a giant left.
So it may come down to who can pick that up first.
And then
resources are getting a bit thin.
SirSalty has a bit more demons left that because his Gul'dan was measly. So he has more. He has like a Dread Infernal left.
And he's had a good defile, which means that Tyler probably needs to get a good defile to get equal here.
Yeah.
Not necessarily now. He could do it now, but I'm talking in general terms. For Tyler to catch up, he's probably lost slightly more resources, but he does have a slightly bigger hand. And these matchups are always amazing to me because we have gone through most of the big stuff, and now you're trying to tickle each other to death for that last bit of damage. And it seems sometimes it just takes phenomenally long to find that last 9 damage.
Yeah, because even though you do 3 damage to face and healer face 3, the other warlock just does the same thing to you, and it's you're back to square one. But yeah, using the Hellfire here and the file, makes him able to have his Geist still at 1. So just pushing those 4 damage and playing the pill build. Just he wants him to not hero power his face, so he can actually just push damage, because the damage is what matters at the moment.
Yeah, and it's just funny to watch these two decks that are so powerful early on run so low on resources as the game ticks by. Mossy Horror is actually very hard to deal with. That will get damaged through repeatedly.
The 2/7. Oh, that's a really good change there, because getting Greyman is a 6/5. It's a big minion. And SirSalty getting the better deal out of the Demonic Project as well.
Yeah, especially as a Hellfire backup for this doubling imp, so most roads lead to him clearing next turn and playing a Hooked Reaver, and Tyler can spell break it, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's still a 4/4. Yeah, and Tyler just goes on the offensive and just like, well, I put the 4/6 in the way, and hopefully you...
Yeah.
He knows he has a Hooked Reaver now, because you can see that in the...
Yeah, I like that. I think that's really good.
Yeah.
You're not just suddenly faced with a random card that's not fair. You're faced with a random card that's not fair that you can see.
Yeah. And you also know what you change your opponent's card into. It's basically a open information. You just open up information about one card.
Open information's good in Hearthstone. You see that in some of the Azalina games where one player will just use the open information so much better than his opponent.
Yeah. Because he knows every card in the tournament, and he just uses that information to play perfectly. Play with cast division.
Yeah, but they're not casters, luckily for them.
Yeah, so they actually managed to do the correct play. But here also SirSalty is considering that this 2/3 has to trade into this 7/7 anyways. Is it just better to go face with his hero power?
And he decides yes. And
no, and yes, and no. He's unsure.
I like being safe. I like... There's so many little variables with...
And also, I think he's thinking about, well, what happens with the Spellbreaker? Yeah, because the Spellbreaker here can trade in perfectly, and that, as we see, Tyler has the Spellbreaker, and there's not many cards left, so you can assume that like most of the cards are, like I always say that you don't necessarily play around everything.
Yeah.
But when it's so few cards left, you know what's left basically.
And SirSalty's right on the edge of lethal next turn. He does have 12 available to him. This is, I think, why Tyler's thinking so long. Like, trying to work out, do I need to Shroom Brewer? What's the best way of actually fighting back? Because most of his plays just lose to Hellfire on the spot.
Yeah. I think it's also the Mossy with the 7 health. It's so much health, even though it's just 2 damage, but that's 2 more damage than your opponent can do.
Yeah, when you're hitting each other with 2/2s and 4/4s, suddenly a 2/7 is actually surprisingly irritating. And if you have to trade into it twice with a 4/3, or 2/4/3, your cards aren't doing what they're there to do. And he is going to try and take care of it over a couple of turns.
Now the big boys from SirSalty is coming into hand as well.
This Hellfire pink face is just beautiful looking, though.
Yeah. And you can also add a Shroom Brewer to that. Like, if he Shroom Brewers is 4/4, how does Tyler get out of this?
Not easily. Not easily at all. Giant's
we
too
see
expensive.
Homunculus does the It's basically Shroom Brewer, Homunculus to block some damage, and yeah, he's dead now.
Oh, he's gonna do it again. SirSalty, confident young man from the United Kingdom.
He's readying up the emote.
Yeah, he's getting ready with the emotes.
Yeah, we see you just going full taunts. Because he knows that he's almost dead. Now we need to do some defile math and see if anything he can defile.
Yeah, Dread Infernal Spellstone is also kind of nice.
Yeah, Dread Infernal.
You can bump it up to the 5, and then you can just take out the Shroom Brewer without losing one of your minions.
Yep. Or you can do...
Yeah, multiple ways of doing it.
Doing like this, kills it, and then you can bump in the 4/3 or one of the 4/3s. And now Tyler is on the backbone. It's like he has a lot of minions he has to kill. You can do some... You can do a nice defile here, but...
but he doesn't have one. He's got a Hellfire, which sort of... Yeah, I guess.
It helps barely, because you're almost dead.
But you're not actually dead.
No, you're not actually dead.
And you have the board.
Very short. Very. Oh, that's again game in as well. It's like every turn SirSalty is like, because he didn't play that many of his power cards early, and he managed to deal with Tyler's early game, and deal with the big board.
Not dead yet.
Not dead.
Tyler's
Yeah,
actually getting some healing, and okay, so SirSalty
This
has
is going down
advantage
to the
picking
ropes.
first.
Another homunculus. Two
Just
damage.
get a thing on the board.
And Tyler's just playing off the top. There's few cards left.
I think he's down to 3.
Playing another Shroom Brewer off the top. Just like, well, that's what I have.
Yeah, I thought SirSalty was winning this, but very different than exactly what's left. I still feel like they've both got some
Small
big stuff
Twilight
left.
Dragon. That's just going to get eaten by the hero power.
Yeah, and he actually has to think here. He could wait a turn.
He has to also think now, what does Tyler have left? Because Tyler doesn't have much left. There's almost nothing in his list left. And
Can they even play a giant if they draw it? If there is one left? I'm not sure if there is.
but there should be one left, shouldn't it? We've only seen one from each.
I thought that. But if Tyler draws a giant, I don't think he can play it.
He has to wait a couple of turns.
But he hasn't got many cards in his deck.
Oh, this Defile is juicy.
I like.
This is also for saving the Spellstone for, like, the giant, basically. There's the giant, 12 mana.
Good luck with that.
It's never getting played. And that's his giant for 10
But
mana.
it's so much different. Having those 2 cards in hand means that he's going to get this done. Tyler,
Yeah, Tyler can't even play the giant.
I feel that Tyler maybe shouldn't have played a card last turn. He would have been very close to dying, but this giant was his only way to win the game, I think.
Yeah, now there's no way out, is it?
No, it's a SirSalty last turn. You know, he didn't play that Twilight Drake, kept a card back, and
Yeah, because he knew it would only die to the hero power anyways, and it's...
yeah.
Yeah, it would be a horrible thing. And now we see probably this 8 damage going straight face.
Yep, checking your mind, but you don't forget giants. You might forget a second Defile or a second Hellfire, but you don't forget a giants in your opponent's deck.
Yeah.
All
It's
you
so-
can't
so-
believe is
sometimes
that
it's-
Tyler's got
yeah.
into this spot.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to remember what the giants actually cost,
Yes.
because you never pay 12 for it, like, or 10 for it. Like,
I've never paid 12 for a giant, got away with it.
Yeah, never.
You get arrested for that sort of thing around here. And
Straight to Blizzard
SirSalty
jail.
has
SirSalty taking
backed
it
up the
3-1.
confidence with an impressive performance here against the more experienced Tyler. And again, I've said it a couple of times, it's not because he's from the UK. As soon as he got in this build,